Gates, I'm amazed at the shit you pulled off. Injecting everybody to soul snatch your soul. RNA protein spikes, this is war. Crimes against humanity, they're killing us all. It's called eugenics. Yeah, they said it and they meant it. Vincent intensive, Coke Blue's expensive. And the light, just give me my money. Dancing at your ass on TikTok, you dummies. PCR tests, ICD-10s, but change to bring the money of a COVID death.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
And those are your kids, so wake your ass up before communism breaks your ass up.
Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Well, mass vaccinations are the only path to a return to normalcy. Almost 4 months into the vaccination effort, providers are beginning to run out of people who want to be immunized. Be immunized. Be immunized. Be immunized.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Know Your Enemies podcast for episode 33. I'm James Justice, and we got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve?
Fighting!
Yeah, every week, all week long. So, hope everybody's having a good time out there. Get ready for this crazy show. We have a lot of news to cover today. And what's going on? What's new with you? Anything good?
Same thing, different day,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we got some craziness going on. We had a terror attack in Colorado by an Egyptian guy. Let's pull up a picture of this guy. He was running around with no shirt on with 2 flamethrowers or whatever. It was like imitation flamethrowers or whatever it was. But we got a picture of this guy. We're going to pull him up in just 1 second. There he is. This guy is a psychopath, and he lit a bunch of people on fire.
Terrible crimes.
And I think the number's up to 16 people that are severely injured. His name's 45-year-old Mohammed Sabi Solomon, and he's being charged with 16 counts of attempted murder, which is crazy.
Incredible.
And this wouldn't be going on if our border wasn't open for all that time. So this is 100%.
The southern border?
Yeah, 100% Joe Biden's fault. 100%. So the 4 years that we were just wide open, we have all these people coming in from all these different countries, and they don't care about America.
4 years of that.
Yeah, 4 years. So the cleanup job that we're going to have with Border Patrol and ICE it's going to be a lot, man. It's a lot of work. We're going to need
terrible situation.
All of the brave, patriotic Americans that are 20 and up to go start taking the test to become ICE members, because we're going to need a lot of agents to get the amount of people that we have in this country out of here. And, until we do that, the streets aren't safe. So we have to start really taking that serious,
It's horrible, the situation. That's disgusting, that crime.
Yeah.
Innocent people lit on fire. And we saw it going on in the subways as well.
Yeah, the subway, and then, what about the people lighting themselves on fire? It's crazy.
Well, you had U.S. military soldiers, Air Force soldiers, lighting themselves on fire because of what they've seen in the travesty or the tragedies, the genocide going on right now in Palestine. And I think it's time President Trump pay attention to that.
Yeah, I think we should.
Too many children, too many innocent people.
Yeah, we need to get all of our troops out of these countries, bring them back home, let them spend some time with the family, and secure our country because our nation needs it.
President Trump said he was going to end that war in Israel and in Gaza.
And it's still going on. Innocent people are dying. Kids are dying.
Terrible situation. Enough. And now they're being starved to death. And no news networks are covering it. And it's the most terrible thing.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So I'm going to have, if you want to see like exclusive footage pertaining to the whole war thing, you can go on UCNYnews.com and find my Rumble page. I'll be uploading the stuff on there because I really can't air it on air. It's very graphic.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man. So speaking of war, we got Zelensky acting like a maniac again, and
Yeah.
supposedly there was a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, and now Zelensky violated the agreement, and he just launched bombs into an airfield that had
Right, through
nuclear
drones, right? It
capable
was drones.
planes. Yep. And if you look on the screen over here, this is the airfield on the left. Is the airfield before, and then after they bombed it, and it's crazy, man. Like, how much more provoking are we going to do before this thing escalates into something out of control?
Nuclear.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. All the bombing and all the fighting. What the hell are we really fighting for? You know what I mean? Like all they're doing is laundering money through all these wars, and it's the banking cartels that are making money, and it's corrupt politicians that are fueling the flames.
And the military contractors.
Yeah, and the military-industrial complex that's making all the money on this. So it's got to stop, right? There's
Too many children.
life is worth more than making money on bullets and rockets and all these other things, you know? And until they get that through their heads and stop these wars, this is going to be a rinse and repeat cycle every
And I don't
single
agree with
time.
trying to deport people having protests or anything like that. This country was built upon our Constitution, and any deporting of students trying to protest a war that they don't believe in or that they have family exposed to, or you're going to kick them out of school for exercising their First Amendment right, I think it's a little ridiculous.
I mean, I feel if you're here on a student visa and you're supposed to be respecting the nation and you guys are
well,
out
it has nothing to do with this
damaging
nation.
property.
It has to do with these people have relatives, whether they be Israelis or Palestinians or whoever, Russians, I don't know, Ukrainians. My point being is, do we have a First Amendment or don't we have a First Amendment?
No, we do.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't start saying to somebody, if you're going to protest, you got to leave the country. No, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if they're doing any violence, acts of violence, or damaging property, or acting like really crazy, aside from what the First Amendment protects, I eject them out of here immediately.
I told you what I said to the police officer when he asked me if I had my permit for my megaphone.
No, what did you say?
I said, shit, I'm out on bail.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they didn't ask again. But, you know, it's ridiculous that you should need a permit for a megaphone or a permit to have a protest. I think it's ridiculous. If it's going to be a unpeaceful protest, well, then you're going to get locked up.
Yeah, exactly.
But you shouldn't need to take out a permit to exercise your First Amendment right.
No, not at
You
all.
know, if it's going to be a little aggressive and you're going to block traffic, well, you're not going to get a permit anyway. You're going to get locked up.
Yeah.
But to say to the people that they can't protest a war, I mean, that reminds me of like that 4 dead in Ohio when the students were protesting the war in Vietnam and they got shot and killed by the U.S. military.
Yeah.
You know, we can't have this. Like, either we have the Constitution or we don't. You can't just run and say that you lost your right to assemble and free speech.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
You know, that's just my take. You know, I think it's a little overzealous of President Trump to talk like that. Anybody that speaks out against Israel, you're going to be locked up. I mean, this is just, the mindset is crazy.
Yeah. You should be able to speak whatever you want as long as it's not inciting violence or talking about harming somebody in a way, you know.
The First Amendment is not supposed to be protecting soft speech. It's protecting controversial speech.
Yep, unpopular speech. That's what it's there for, you know. But so we got Klaus Schwab back in the news again. So listen to this one. Now, Klaus Schwab, who stepped down as the World Economic Forum's chairman, there's all these whistleblowers that started coming out saying that he was using funds and things were really inappropriate. And now he's suing the whistleblowers for whatever. So listen to this. So in April 2025, anonymous whistleblowers accused Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, of financial misconduct, research manipulation, and mishandling sexual harassment cases. These allegations led to Schwab's immediate resignation and prompted an internal investigation by the WEF. Schwab has denied all accusations and filed a criminal complaint in defamation and coercion against the whistleblowers. The WEF appointed Peter Barabak Lamaith as the interim chair and conducted an independent probe into the claims. Now, anything that the World Health Organization is investigating on their own, I don't believe a word you're going to say out of your report, you know. But it just goes to show you that these big globalist think tanks are just as corrupt as the hijacked federal government we had. And, you know, these institutions need to get broken up. The Davos Group, the Bilderberg Group, all these guys that have way too much power and get paid way too much money to go to these meetings and talk about how they're going to take over the world and manipulate and steer society. You know, these guys got to go. All of them. Because, you know, at the end of the day, the elites of the world are the people of the populations, not the elite class that rose to the top off of schemes and manipulation and basically pirating all of their civilians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So enough is enough. We have to hold these people accountable, dissolve these corporations, and then once we do that, we go after the banks because the banks are a big problem.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Klaus Schwab, man, I hope you go to jail for the rest of your life for crimes against humanity and take your buddy Bill Gates and know Yuval Harari with you because we're not going to turn into AI robots like they want us to. And if you don't believe me, you think I'm going crazy, go look up the Fourth Industrial Revolution and see what they're talking about. And go look up the Great Reset and see that. All right, they have books on it. They have white papers. You can go to their website and read all about it. And they want us to eat bugs, own nothing, and be happy. And it's not happening. I'm going to be eating steak, big, juicy steaks. Steve knows about steaks.
Yeah, man, amongst other things.
So we got the AutoPen thing going on. That's back in the news. So the Department of Justice is now opening up an investigation into Joe Biden's AutoPen. And did you hear that Trump put a Truth Social post out saying that Biden was a clone? He's been dead. He said,
I love it.
Yeah, there's he put out a post. He retweeted a post saying that Biden's been dead since 2020, and that's not him. So he's like, there's all these clips going on the internet now. They're like, with Trump going, I don't even think Biden knows he's alive. And they're all circulating now. And
But anyway, this guy shouldn't be fucking around with jokes about Biden. He should be focused on stopping the war in Gaza.
yeah, exactly.
You know, President Trump, you ran on that. You said that you were going to stop that war, and you have not. And we're calling you out.
Yep. Let's go. Stop this already.
Yeah.
You know?
Too many kids have died. Too many kids have died. And now it's your watch. It's our munitions, and we don't want it to continue.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want another dollar spent on killing innocent people.
Not a dollar.
Not a dollar. So we have some events. I'm going to get some promos out of the way real quick. We have some events coming up this weekend that are going to be pretty big and a lot of fun if you want to make it out there. We have the I Need Your Freedom Rally 4.0, the Freedom Fighters Reunion, June 7th, City Hall Park. They're gathering at Brooklyn Borough Hall, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. The march begins around 9:45 sharp across the Brooklyn Bridge. The final rally location is City Hall Park, Broadway sidewalk by 11 a.m. And then it's going to be powerful speakers, live performances, and a declaration of freedom. So make sure if you're around and you're in the Brooklyn area, make sure you show up. Even if you're not in the Brooklyn area and you're a patriot and you love the country, come out there and meet us. I'll be out there getting footage, and it's going to be a really good time. And we got another one over here. We have Saturday, June 17th, Liberty's Cage, a justice reform podcast with Sarah Maccabee and Shane Jenkins. That's going to be Saturday, June 7th, once again. Doors open 6:30 p.m. Show starts at 7. $10 per person. Purchase tickets online. Snacks and refreshments will be available. So make sure you go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com and click on events and get that going because the tickets over here sell out quick, and you don't want to miss out on a good time, especially when it has to do with taking part in history. So, and then we have a Freedom Rally coming up. Oh, my God. Caravan and Barbecue. Belmore, Long Island Train Station, Sunrise Highway, East Lot, right across from Arby's. Sunday, June 8th, the rally starts 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Caravan rolls out 1:15. 2 p.m. barbecue at the America First Warehouse. You're not going to want to miss that. This is the most amazing patriotic venue in all the land. And if you haven't experienced it for yourself, you got to get down here and do that because it is an epic time when you're with patriots. So it's going to be a good time. So make sure you go on to, once again, the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. Go check the events page, book your tickets, get involved, pull up with your car, go on Amazon. You got a little bit of time left. Maybe you can get something overnight delivery, get some stickers, some decals, some flags. You know, get yourself a flag hitch for the back of your vehicle, and let's get this show on the road, man. So it's going to be a really good time. So make sure you check out those events. And, oh, yeah. Now let's get into the Supreme Court acting like libtards. How
What
about
else
that
is
one?
new?
How about that one? What's up with the Supreme Court lately?
I don't know.
That's supposed to be our last line of defense when it comes to this country. Those are our justices right there, right? Now, I understand that maybe not all of them have a conservative stance. There's a couple liberals in there. But we hold the majority. And we're supposed to be seeing things coming out of the Supreme Court that defend and honor the Constitution. And that's not what we're seeing at all because, you know, they're going up against Trump on everything, like on a lot of stuff. So I have
Like
a little,
what?
I have a little list here we're going to go through. So they blocked the Alien Enemies Act for deportations. The foreign aid funding must proceed, right? He tried to block all the foreign aid on a lot of different programs. Tariffs on imports overturned. How the hell are you they're overturning the tariffs?
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So
Looks like they just cut his, whats.
yeah, they're
off.
trying to neuter Trump, but I don't think it's going to happen because the public's got to put a lot of pressure on these things. So we also have the birthright citizenship that we didn't want anymore. That they blocked that,
Holy shit.
right? Federal work reductions halted, right? So
I
then
think
now-
somebody got a hold of him.
Yeah, dude, they're totally compromised.
Supreme Court's corrupted.
So the federal workforce reductions is halted because they're saying that he can't just fire all these people and lay them off.
They're owned by Soros.
Yeah, and our president is the commander in chief. He could fire anybody he wants in the executive branch, and any program that was set up under that branch, he is the commander of. And if he says this program is null and void, you're done. That's it. It's over. Pack your shit and go home. Everybody's got to pack their stuff and go home. But
Since
these
when
judges-
does the Supreme Court have a say?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they're acting as like a de facto president against our president. So it makes no sense, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we have independent agency heads cannot be dismissed at will. So he can't just fire, oh, you're the head of this program, bye, even if they were a DEI hire.
Incredible.
Yeah. Transgender military ban temporarily blocked.
Whatever.
Right? And then Supreme Court limits presidential immunity. Get the hell out of here. So this is what's going on, man.
Well, they want to include whoever wants to join the military into the military, but why don't we give the illegal immigrants the opportunity to join the military to get to their, maybe citizenship or at least a green card, permanent residency?
But then if they don't even know what they're fighting for, what are they doing? Let's say we let illegals into the military.
Most
right?
of the people that come into this country, the majority of them, want to one day consider themselves American. Maybe with Mexican or Guatemalan or whatever descent, but the majority of them have our best interests at hand in themselves as well. They came here with the hope of one day assimilating and being the equivalent of, and they do have almost every single church has Spanish mass.
Yeah. Well, maybe they have the intention, but when it comes down to like fully assimilating and having American pride, right? I see more of pride for whatever countries they left and deserted to come here for a better life. There's more pride going on in that than there is holding up American flags like, yo, I love America. They gave me an opportunity to be here and work and provide for my family and make a living. And it took me out of the dump I came from. They're still raising their own country's flags.
I don't know. I mean,
That's what I see
don't-
anyway.
I don't
know.
see it too often. Most of the people I work with don't speak English, and most of them wanted President Trump. They couldn't vote, but they wanted
Yeah.
Trump. But I do think that in all seriousness, most of these people that are here would gladly join the military in whatever capacity. They would fight for this country and the hopes to be able to attain citizenship or at least permanent residency here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they would be more effective than maybe letting people of transgender into the military. I could be wrong. You might, maybe they're equally as effective, but I see most of the guys that I deal with that speak Spanish that, in my opinion, would join the military to get their freedom here.
Yeah.
Those people would be more effective.
Well, I would take the illegal immigrants over the transgender thing in the military. all
Well,
day.
regardless, I don't think our military
Just
has got that kind of enrollment that they
I'm
should
just
be
saying.
turning anybody away.
I would rather them focus on their M14 or whatever the hell they're shooting than their toenail paint.
I agree.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
like I said, I don't think that our military is in a position to be turning away recruits.
No, we're not. We have well, actually, the recruiting levels now are through the roof. Ever since
Really?
Biden got out, yeah, we have a lot higher recruiting levels.
I guess I'm not surprised.
So let's talk about Target. Remember last year under Biden, how Target and all these companies went like completely woke. And
Yeah.
it was all Pride Month. Everybody's logo turned into a rainbow logo, and it was everywhere. So now apparently that we have a real president in there and masculinity is making a comeback. A lot of these companies aren't doing it. So they're not changing their logos. There was no changes. There was a couple companies that did it, the usual suspects, but it's not on the level it was last year.
Right.
Which is really good. So Target.
Well, a lot of the news media will do the same thing. They'll swing a little bit to the right when they have a conservative president.
Yeah.
And then they'll go full on communist when we have a Democrat president.
Yeah. Target did it. Last year they had all these displays, pride displays, and they even had like sections for gay dogs, which is crazy to me. But yeah, all these big pride sections, and as soon as June hit, June 1st, bang, everything all over the place. Now, you look at Target, this is what Target looks like right here. Look at that. So they went from celebrating Pride Month to releasing 4th of July material early, a month early, 2 months early.
Unbelievable.
Yep. So that's good. We're making small steps over here, and the grooming of children at these corporation, stores, Target, whatever, it's all starting to ease down, which is a good sign for the morality of our country. Thank God, because this is crazy. We were going off a cliff real quick.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So what else we got? We got a Tom Homan update. Let's. Tom Homan was asked about the recent, events that have been going on with the Egyptian guy that's had the flamethrower. So he had some answers about it. So let's show Tom Homan, my buddy Tom.
Tom Homan. Tom, let's get your first reaction, your first public comments on this issue out in Colorado.
Me and you've been talking about this for years, Sean. I mean, I worked for the network just before I came back to the second Trump administration. And I've said over and over again, what scares me about the southern border, the sex trafficking, right? Sky high. The Americans dying from fentanyl. The people, all the drugs coming across, all the sex trafficking, all the smuggling. And I said what concerned me the most was they created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. Not only did 2 million known gotaways, 2 million people cross the border, we don't know who they are, where they came from, we don't know where they are now. On top of that, even through the legal process, the Biden administration were bringing people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years. Because of the chaos they created in 4 years. We're out there kicking butt. We're arresting a lot of criminal aliens. We're out there looking for the bad guy. And when we're out there doing that, Sean, we got protesters assaulting ICE officers. We got members of Congress all over the country going to ICE facilities, raising hell, saying this is their oversight responsibility. Where were their oversight responsibility when 10.5 million illegal aliens came across the border? Where's the oversight responsibility on releasing over 8 million illegal aliens to this country? Where's the oversight responsibility then? This is an attack on ICE. This is an attack on the Trump administration. We're trying to fix the damage done by Biden.
Exactly.
You're doing a great job.
Exactly. So you can't put it in any plainer words than that. I mean, Tom Homan is an expert. He's there. He's the man on the field, boots on the ground, and that's what it is. And from what I heard today, the border crossings are down. I think there was 8,400 in 2025. Which is like huge. That's a huge decline in border crossings. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, so I got another one that we're going to run into real quick, and I think we're going to take a quick commercial break. Trump was asked about Planned Parenthood and about the baby harvesting, which is crazy because they've been harvesting body parts for years at a Planned Parenthood. And let's go check out what Trump had to say about looking into it.
If Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject.
Okay.
And we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything. But that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time.
Yeah. So if you go to Medical Center for Medical Progress on YouTube, I don't know how they're still up. I guess they sued YouTube and they made them keep the channel. But Center for Medical Progress has all of the videos on undercover camera of Planned Parenthood, the highest level people sitting around tables talking about how much the parts go for and how they're getting intact babies. And it's bad. It's really bad. But if you have the stomach for it and you think I'm lying about what I say on here, go look it up. Center for Medical Progress on YouTube. And you can watch the videos for yourself. They are very pro-life, and it is disgusting what these people have been getting away with.
Incredible. But it was they were in the everyone's suspicions for many years. So it was target for, what was that website one more time?
Center for Medical Progress.
Center for Medical Progress.
Yeah.
.com. No.
No,
on
it's just
YouTube.
on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go check that out, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube and see what they're really doing over at Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, it's messed up, man. We got to save the kids. It was over probably 60 million kids have been aborted, right, since the abortion laws went into place, which is disgusting. It's disgusting. You're talking about little lives. For me, Steve, all the people watching this out there, it could have been you. You know, it's disgusting. So let's put an end to these programs. Enough is enough. So we had Tom Homan on, and the border's going good. You want to know how good the border's going and how effective ICE is?
How?
They got people climbing trees, man. Play this clip. I got this guy up in a tree. He ran off the job site and ran up a tree, thinking it was somehow that was going to save him. He wasn't going to get detained and deported. So let's check out this guy in the tree real quick.
Mira, si para andar aquí.
Sí, termino.
Come on, man. He's still going. He's like, no, man. I'm staying up here. I'm staying in the tree. I'm not leaving. Yo, this shit is crazy. So that's how you know Tom Homan is doing his thing. And the ICE is out there, and, they're not playing no games, man. You got people climbing trees like Curious George. That is funny. That is absolutely hilarious. So I have another clip here from Stephen Miller. This guy is a whip when it comes to going to the media and spanking their behinds right on live TV. So he just gave a address about the health in the country. And listen to his breakdown. He is very articulate, very good, and very stern. Let's check it out.
The reality is that what has been fake for generations now is the medical and nutrition advice that so much of this government has been giving our families. And, we saw, of course, during COVID with fake rules about from the so-called experts about masking and social distancing and everything else, or pretending that there's the same risk profile for a healthy 4-year-old kid as an elderly and obese person. The Maha report is the most significant and important breakthrough moment in terms of prioritizing prevention, underlying health, answering and asking the right questions. Why are there such persistently high rates of pediatric cancer in this country? And why have they increased so significantly since 1970? Why are pediatric cancer rates so much higher in the developed world than the developing world? Why do you even have a concept called diseases of civilization? I think you've all heard that concept before, right? Where in the most developed countries, you have such high incidences of cancer, of immunological disorders, right? In other words, things like celiac disease, food allergies, eczema, psoriasis, gut disorders. You have so many quality of life disorders that can actually be crippling and debilitating, right? In other words, some of these disorders can completely degrade in the person's entire quality of life permanently with no known cures. They can treat these things with, like Crohn's disease, for example. They can treat these things with steroids. They can try to mitigate the symptoms, but there's no path out for millions of Americans.
So if you want to see the full clip on that,
causing young babies in this country?
He did a tremendous job breaking it down, where he's just pointing out the facts that we have the sickest kids amongst developed countries, and there's got to be answers for that. I know the answers to it. I think a lot of you out there do as well. But we're going to get to the bottom of it. And I think we're going to be taking a quick commercial break in a couple minutes. And then we have two guests we're coming back on with. We got my man Shane Jenkins and Sarah Maccabee, two J6ers. And they're going to be here telling their stories of what's going on with them, giving us some updates. And
what it was like on the inside.
What it was like on the inside. Two warriors. So,
thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah.
Corrupt judges, broken families, families torn apart. This isn't justice. If you've been wronged by the system, join us. Don't stand alone. Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs, president of Americans for Legal Reform. We're the oldest legal reform group in the United States. The justice system in the United States should be transparent, fair, and open to everybody and accessible. Unfortunately, many times that's not the case. At Americans for Legal Reform, we are here to help. Join the movement. Visit AmericansForLegalReform.com and help reform the system before it fails you.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Welcome everybody to the Not So Newlywed Show, where three couples are going to compete for really great prizes. Okay, Donna, we asked Mike, who complained first on your honeymoon, you or him?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think he said...
Lisa, this ain't the SATs. Just tell us what... Donna, who complained first on the honeymoon?
I'm sure it was me, but I have no idea.
Donna is right.
No, it's always me.
What celebrity would you pick for a one-day pass?
For me?
Yeah, for you, not for him.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon! Wow! Who do you hate the most on her side? That rotten no...
There's so many choices.
Thank you all, and thank you for coming out.
Hi, my name is Elena Ruseva, aka Megalangela. Please check my art at www.megalangela.vip.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
All right, everybody, we are back at the America First Warehouse.
The most patriotic venue in all the land.
All right, so we're going to bring on some guests. We got Shane and Sarah. We're going to bring them on and say hello.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us on.
Our pleasure. I'm Steve. This is James Justice.
In the flesh.
And we're happy to hear your story and get it out.
So, ladies first, of course. And you look beautiful, by the way. So let's hear your story and give us a breakdown on what's going on with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I am actually not a January 6th defendant. I am a family member of a former January 6th defendant, and just really became an advocate because what we witnessed was, you know, as a family member on the outside, we were also denied justice for our loved one. We were not allowed to see them for 2 years. They were denied haircuts. They were mistreated. And in the most horrific conditions that Shane can speak to because he lived those. But, you know, out here, we had to rally around. Patriots had to come together as one to be a voice for these individuals. And so we did just that. And we created a nonprofit that, you know, we're excited to be at the America First Warehouse this weekend to promote Stand in the Gap, which is our nonprofit for January 6th defendants. And then also for Liberty's Cage, which is going to be exposing the injustices within our federal bureau prison system.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the warehouse.
Yeah, it's a good time here, man. So what else? What you got?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to hear more about some of the injustices, some of the treatment that went on in the prison or in the jail.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us on, fellas. I appreciate it. My name is Shane Jenkins, and I spent 1,418 days of the last 4 years in prison for the events around January 6th. I was arrested March 5th, 2021, 2 months after January 6th. I spent 32 months in the DC jail, which is one of the worst jails in the nation. And they denied us visits with our families for 2 years. They denied us religious services, basically like communion, chaplains, anything like that for 2 years. They denied us access to haircuts for a year, and they denied us fingernail and toenail clippers for a year. And so those are just basic human needs, and they denied us things, not to mention the fact that they would come in there and assault different people from time to time, or look for a reason to come in there and just create chaos and attack people and throw people in solitary confinement. We spent many of those initial months in solitary confinement, 1 hour out of the cell a day, 2 hour out of the cell a day for months and months and months. And so to take somebody who's never been in trouble, I have a criminal record, but a lot of them are veterans, law enforcement, prison guards, have never been in trouble before. And so to take those men who've never encountered a situation like that and to throw them into a situation like that, thousands of miles from home, none of us are really from DC. And so it was just a very traumatic experience. And we want to fight to make sure that that never happens to another citizen in the United States ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we supposedly had a First Amendment right to go do what we did. And, to be persecuted over something that's protected in the United States is just absolutely ridiculous. And I think every single person that was nonviolent deserves a very hefty settlement and retribution for what was done to them, because there's no excuse in the world other than being set up by a bunch of commies that were trying to hijack our government. There's no excuse for it. And, with the people, with the settlements, once they're taken care of, even before that, we want to see justice, and we want to see arrests and handcuffs and people brought to justice over this, because it was a huge setup. I was there. I saw what happened. And, it's just disgusting. And thank God there's advocacy groups like Sarah's got out there, and they're standing up and making everything known that took place, because, the mistreatment from all of the patriots is just ridiculous.
And I want to know why some were pardoned and some were commuted.
So the groups like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys have not been pardoned yet. They were commuted. We don't know the exact reasoning behind that. I assume that there is going to be some type of litigation or investigation into those federal cases and the way they handled them in court, because the way they violated them in court, the way the judges handled those cases were the most egregious out of all the cases that we witnessed. So I did want to touch back on something you said. I do have violent charges, and many of the men who did time in the DC jail with me had violent charges, but I would say 99% of all of us witnessed elderly and women being assaulted. We were assaulted ourselves. I was pepper sprayed 4 times and hit from behind with the baton before I ever took any action against law enforcement. So
yeah, it was more self-defense.
Yeah, and I just want that to be understood, because many of these men, like I said, veterans, law enforcement, witness situations happening to women and people being pushed down the stairs, hit from behind, all these different things, and then they react the way the government trained them or the way law enforcement trained them to react. And then now here you throw them in the gulag for months and months and months and deny them their basic rights. So a lot of people touch on that violent, nonviolent thing, but I think it's very situational. And 99% of the situations were they saw something and they reacted. It wasn't
no, I don't think any of the patriots that went out there were looking to start any types of violence or anything like that. It's just when they started shooting the tear gas and rubber bullets and then hitting people with batons, that's when you see a couple people get whacked over the head and knocked out, and somebody's going to step up and be like, oh, enough, and then that's where the altercations came in with the police. But that was 100% provoked, 100% provoked. And I don't fault anybody that stood up for somebody that was getting attacked by one of these officers in the DC police. So, I actually commend them for standing up and being brave enough to go fight against riot shields and batons and pepper spray and rubber bullets, trying to protect innocent people, because I'm ride or die patriot 100%. And, if I would have saw that going on in front of me, I probably would have did the same thing. And, so we'll get to the bottom of this eventually.
Pray to God that Cash and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and them are doing something because they're taking their
Something.
I know, man. They're sitting still in the water, man. They're like
Epstein did kill himself.
Yeah, they're like rotten. What do you call it? Horseshoe crabs that are just laying on the beach right now, stinking. We want action.
We got big news. Epstein did it to himself.
That was the most ridiculous. I was sitting there looking at the TV like, no. Maybe this is a deep fake. And then I watched it again. I'm like, it's not a deep fake. These guys are either compromised or I don't know what's going on. Like maybe they're putting on their poker face or something.
I'm down the rabbit hole, but I think Epstein's in like witness protection or something. That's just my personal opinion. But
Yeah, and Ghislaine Maxwell probably isn't doing any time right now. She's supposedly in a federal prison somewhere. I don't remember where, but I don't believe it.
I don't know. She was chilling at the Queen's cabin, so I don't know how much security she's being wrapped in right now. She's
Yeah, I don't imagine that Ghislaine is really incarcerated.
She's probably in a submarine on the bottom of the water. Was she with the Terra Firm project? She used to run that shit?
I don't know.
She had a submarine's pilot
I
license.
believe nothing. I believe nothing.
Yeah,
Like
that's the problem.
I'm
with
gonna
all the-
stop both wars on my first fucking day. And meanwhile, there's like since then it's been like 10,000 lives lost.
Yeah, but
So I mean, I wish that it all came to fruition, but I don't have any. I trust nothing, believe nothing.
Yeah.
let me show you. I wanted to show you all this. I bought this as a reminder. It is a Crusader helmet.
Oh, nice.
You guys were showing the war, like the border, and then you were talking about the harvesting of children's organs and stuff like that. And then you look at how the January 6th people were prosecuted, and there is a war on the citizens of America, on our sovereignty.
Absolutely. And it goes all the way down right to the chemtrails. Even like, oh, we're going to stop the chemtrails. And they're still spraying us.
All that. I got this as a reminder to me that we are fighting. It's a spiritual war, but it's also, lawfare, physical war. And there is something set deadly against the American citizen. We have to be very vigilant and careful.
That's because we're a Christian nation and they can't stand it. They want to eliminate God from every square inch of the United States and the world, and they're losing.
On that note, let's give glory to God. All glory to God.
Absolutely.
Thank you, God, for every minute I have with my beautiful girlfriend, Lisa. Thank you for our podcast. Thank you for all our friendship and for everything we have in our lives and our health and our loved ones. Thank you, God, for everything. Amen.
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 So,
I can't
Sarah,
wait
what
to
else
see
you got
New
over
York
there?
with you guys. I can't wait to see y'all in New York. I'm ready to get
Oh,
down
I
there.
know. It's going to be a good time, man. We turn up on Long Island, man. It's crazy out here. But,
There's no red light cameras.
yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, this guy has chopped down the red light cameras in Suffolk County and got the entire program ended. So he's like a little
More glory to God.
He's like
More
a
glory to
folk
God.
hero in Suffolk County in the world. He's funny. He's got guys from Ireland hitting him up like, get it, get it, get it.
I got to see that footage. I want to see that.
Yeah. It's funny as hell. So it's gonna be good. You guys going out to Brooklyn for the that rally?
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yes.
Yeah. That's going. So I'll see you out there too. So it'll be good.
I've never seen New York, so I've been all around there, DC and Philly and all that. Never been to Boston, New York, or anything like that. So I'm ready to check that out. It's gonna
Where are
be-
you going to be staying while you're up here?
And we're staying on the island, so not in the city.
No, I know. What town?
Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma.
Nice.
All my Spanish guys that work for me go, Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma.
So, yeah, you're not going to be far from Popeyes. If you want good seafood when you get up here, come to Popeyes Clam Bar in Quorum.
Yeah, it's a good
That's
spot.
my spot right there.
Okay, we'll have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've got great seafood, slamming.
So as far as like where people can promote you or financially donate, or you have a GoFundMe or anything like that set up where I could send people to?
You got it.
Yeah, so we actually run a nonprofit, Stand in the Gap, that helps January 6th defendants, well, now former January 6th defendants and their family members. So we have everything from health insurance, they got little to no access to any sort of medical care on the inside. We also are working on a health and wellness retreat where they can come in and work through some of their mental problems, living in solitary confinement for 4 years. Like, yes, we're absolutely thankful for President Trump to, on his first day, to release all these individuals. I believe it was 228 or 218
Yeah, that
were
was
released.
great that he did that. All glory to God for that one. Thank you, President
Oh,
Trump.
yeah, absolutely. But they were kicked out. They had no freedoms at all to having all of their freedoms back. So just working through what that looks like mentally and emotionally. And then also, emergency funding. We still have people that are out of work, still trying to make rent payments. And an individual reached out today. He's taking care of his elderly mother and they need a place to stay, So that's really what we're called to do as Christians and as Americans, is to stand in the gap. So that's how Stand in the Gap was birthed. You can go to standinthegap.foundation to learn more about what we're doing. And as a nonprofit, it is a write-off and for your taxes as well.
Oh, that's great.
I read that a lot of the defendants that were picked up were the flash grenaded, like flash bombs, and
Flashbang, yeah.
flash banged, and just really no respect at all given.
They
that
came to my house with an armored personnel carrier with the top popped on it with a megaphone yelling, "Shane Jenkins, come outside." It's Houston SWAT and the FBI. And they had flashbangs. They couldn't get the pin back in it. So they went down the street to the CVS and threw it and just discharged it, exploded it. But they had, it was Houston SWAT, like 20 lasers pointed at my chest when I came out. It was, they sent the head of the Joint Terrorism Task Force for the Houston region, like the guy that would be hunting bin Laden or the guy that would be hunting McVeigh. They sent those people to my house to go through all my stuff and tear it apart because they labeled me a tier 1 anti-government extremist, saying that I was the worst of the worst and that, we were.
You do seem like an agitator.
Sometimes the spirit of liberty and freedom is strong in my heart, and if that's what they don't like, they don't want somebody who knows that they're free and what it's like to fight for that, and I will fight for it.
I bet you the king thought that we were agitators too back in the day, and we kicked his ass.
That's right, 1776 pump.
That's it, man.
Fine, man.
That's my handle on the radio, actually.
No, you had that for years.
That's my handle on the radio. 1776.
That's what the prosecutor at my bond hearing was like. I was wearing a Hodge Twins blue hoodie and it had the Betsy Ross stars, and in the middle of it, it said 1776. And the prosecutor looked at my judge and she goes, "And he was wearing a 1776 hoodie, Your Honor. And you know what that means." And I was like,
"What does that mean?" Like
it means that we invest in.
I heard those court cases were so damn corrupted. Did they have juries that were pre-picked juries? Like, it was the jury pool corrupted?
No, they brought us that. So they refused to. I asked to transfer out of DC for my trial. They've denied me that right. And man, when they brought the jury, they bring like all 100 jurors in that you're going to select from. And it was like, you could just see it on some of their faces and just feel the animosity on. They're like, "Oh, you're disgusting MAGA maggot," and all like, "Oh,
yeah." Fully primed from the fake news with animosity and hatred in their eyes.
Brainwashed.
Yep. It's crazy.
The district is 97%, leftist. That's who voted for 97% Biden in DC. So how can you expect me to get a trial by my peers? If they would have left me in Texas, I would have had a better shot, though. Houston's not much better. But
what part of Texas are you from?
Houston.
Okay. I watch InfoWars all the time, and Owen Schroyer, and I know those guys are in Texas, but I don't know where in Texas. Where is it?
They're in Austin.
Austin?
Austin, yeah.
Wow. What a terrible place to be. Seriously.
They killed one of their guys. I guess they robbed him, but they killed one of their
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
Jamie White.
That's what they were saying, and they keep talking about how understaffed the Austin PD is and how the crime is rampant.
Well, it's a blue city in a red state, just like many of probably your cities. And New York may be a blue state, but I'm sure you have a lot of red.
Actually, we're still a blue state, but we're really teeter-tottering more than ever. With the island, Long Island, where you're coming to, is a red area, and the upstate New York is all red. But the boroughs, where they have more dense population, is where they rack up their numbers. But it's probably just stolen elections, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any faith in our elections being legitimate.
No, not with Dominion in charge.
No, definitely not.
We were showing the clips of the illegals and Tom Homan and all that, and I was thinking about all the death and destruction that the fentanyl and the people, the sex trafficking and all that coming across the border, and all that is for more votes for the Democrat Party, and how shameless and how selfish they are to jeopardize the lives of all those poor people coming across the border. I don't knock them for that. And then to jeopardize the communities that those people are coming into with the drugs and then with the rape and murder and all the things that happen as a result of it. It is a disgusting tragedy, a travesty that they would do something like that to the American people and undermine our sovereignty as citizens. And devaluate that is it's
yeah. I mean, I don't think it was really an agenda that they came up with themselves.
No, this has been a long time in the making. I mean, if you go back and you look at the Council on Foreign Relations documents from back in like the early 90s, they talk about resettlement operations and using third world populations to import into the first world so they can mess up the culture and foment civil wars. And then, it's basically
they're doing it in Europe. They're doing exactly that, and it's just destroying these.
Yeah. I think France is gone. France is like basically gone. I mean, they're overrun big time with the migrants, and their culture is just destroyed. I don't think they're going to get it back. I think Ireland is on the precipice of losing it all, but finally the people are starting to make a stand. You got Conor McGregor out there. He's a fighter. He's going to be out there supporting his people, but. All of the countries that under the United Nations programs took in these refugees, it was done on purpose to destabilize everything of all these nations. So then when they claim their big one world government scoop up under the Great Reset, everyone's on board. Everyone's at the same time. Nobody has a culture anymore. They can't recognize their national identity, and it's just chop meat for them to mold into whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, a one world government.
And wait till they get some Sharia law in their life. I can't wait.
Yo, you heard there's a town in Jersey now that it has an Arabic mayor. They call it Little. I forgot the name of the town, but it's like a little Afghanistan or whatever the hell they called it. But it's the entire population is all Arab, and they don't let anybody inside the neighborhoods. It's Arab ran, and they're openly doing Sharia law.
Yeah, but do we know that Sharia law is not more legitimate than our judicial system?
No way.
I mean, that's the question, right? Like, we all know our judicial system's ass backwards.
If your girlfriend under Sharia law, if your girlfriend were to talk to another man, right, and like pull her,
I don't believe that.
Her burqa up,
I don't.
They get stoned, bro. They get buried up to the. I'm telling you,
he doesn't know that.
I'm telling you, I've seen the videos. I've seen what they do. Really? Yo, they bury the woman up to her neck in dirt, and then the whole entire community comes around and they lob rocks at the lady's head until she's dead. Yeah. Well, if you're homosexual, they take you to the tallest building they could find, and they hurl you off the building.
Do you believe that in that city in Jersey they actually practice Sharia law?
They might not be doing that yet. I'm talking like to that extreme where as in like Islamic countries. But if they get a foothold in there where the chief of police is now Arabic and the mayor already is, and then you get the whole entire power structure down the chain of command is all.
Do you know how much their property taxes would drop if they handled all their own crime?
Imagine how we could celebrate Pride Month if they had Sharia law. You go up to the top of the building.
Right. Dude, man. Oh my God. Yeah. Pride Month would end quick.
Over there it would.
Oh yeah. That'd be no
Pride Month's big over here because we have Fire Island.
I'll rally with them.
Pride Month's big out here. They have all kinds of like parades and all kinds of crap right on Fire Island. You can take a ferry to get there. And if you guys get the opportunity while you're here, definitely something to do. I don't know that you'll catch a parade, but
no,
it's a good time.
Don't send them onto an island, catch a gay parade. What the hell's the matter with you? This guy, hey, maybe you can go over there, it'll be a good time.
They have
what the hell are you talking about, man?
Costume contests.
Let me find out Diddy got to you or something, man. Did Diddy get to you, man?
No, I never met Diddy. I was never a fan of Diddy.
Take that.
I liked Nas. I never liked Diddy.
Oh my God. All right. So that's funny as hell. You got me cracking up over here, man.
I do what I can. Do all that. That's what I want to know.
What about the parades and stuff over in Fire Island?
On that deal, I didn't know.
The Fire Island's good time. It is a good time.
Let me know when they don't have the parades. I'll show up.
I don't know when the parades are, but they got it. There's a big community over there, which are,
need to pack my up to wear up there or whatever.
Pardon me?
Do I need to pack my crop top when I come up there?
It depends, I guess, on what part of Fire Island you're going to, but you probably have a good time. Whenever I've been to Fire Island, it's been with the group or whatever, and go. But there is a specific area that I've never been to in Fire Island. They call it
You gotta
Cherry
go there on a
Grove.
buddy system.
And Cherry
Can't go
Grove
there-
is
can't go there alone.
very, very, predominantly gay.
Have a buddy
All right.
and a safe word. You got to have your safe word ready to go.
That's it.
What is this?
You got to have your safe word.
Oh, you're allowed to say gay.
Crayons, a little blanket, little blankies you can throw in your mouth and chew on. You know.
I wouldn't know about that, crayons.
But yeah. So Sarah, what else you got for me over there? I know we're kind of stealing the limelight from you.
No, it's good. There's a lot going on in the country. Specifically your title, Know Your Enemies. I think it's important that we know that the enemy lies on both sides. It's not just, what Shane said earlier, this is a battle of good and evil, and it's within our government and within our citizens. And so they want to spew hate. They want to spew all of this stuff at us. And it's time for patriots to stand tall. The last 4 years, they tried to instill fear to people. And I always say it's not about the last 4 years, it's about the next 250 years. So we need people like yourselves and, to really stand up. It starts at the local level. And so we have to rally together and, stop the stuff like the pride stuff that's going on, because it's indoctrinating our kids in school. Stop the Sharia law stuff. This is America. And if they want to do that, they can go somewhere else and do it. But America was founded on Christianity and patriotic principles. And I'm sure our founding fathers are still rolling over in their graves. We have the next 4 years, really 3.5 now. I mean, we're already 6 months into this new administration. And there's a lot of things we have to change. It's not just about the executive orders that are signed, because the next president can come in and overturn those. It's time for Congress to step up and really do their job. And if we have to replace all 535 members of Congress, then that's what we have to do.
Yep, I agree. And I think a lot of the stuff, the reason why they're the Epstein stuff's being held back is I think a lot of our congressmen, I would say 90% of Republicans and maybe 100% of the Democrats are all compromised. And that's why you only have the MAGA voters that they call that are in Congress. There's like 10 main people that are like the MAGA congressmen. Those are the people that are just balls to the wall on the front line, spewing out whatever truth comes in front of them. And then you have the rest that are just like sitting on their hands, silent in the background. And
Compromise.
I think they're compromised. And I do think that we need to get rid of both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, form a patriot party that goes nothing but the Constitution. And the second they slide off that Constitution, a rope gets slid around their neck. And we go back to the old school way of doing things and treason being taken serious. And I think that if we set that in stone and they see a couple of executions carried out, I think anybody that wants to take a political position or be a politician in the future is going to think twice and see somebody's neck being broken in a rope from the last time somebody tried to, be treasonous towards our country. And that's what we need to get back to, the roots and the founding principles of what made this nation great.
No,
I
you're
think
right.
the jobs
we need,
need to be
true justice in
volunteer.
this country.
Pardon me?
No, we need true justice in this country. We haven't had justice at all. Both sides, Republicans and Democrats, they think they're above the law. And just because President Trump got in doesn't mean that he is our saving grace. He's certainly not our savior. And we need people. I mean, you look at people like Tom Tillis, who, Ed Martin was a wonderful pick. And he stonewalled that. And so you have even people like Thomas Massey. As much as we like Thomas Massey, he stonewalls things sometimes. We need people that are really going to be in there and have the back of Donald Trump and his predecessors.
Yeah, exactly. He's only the head of the federal government. It's up to us to control the state governments. He can only do so much. So the people got to get more motivated than ever. Get out there, study up, do your research. Don't ever take somebody's word for granted. Do your own research, double check, look for references, and come up with your own conclusions of what's going on. Because if you're just going off of what other people say, you might be making actions in your life that aren't justified for what the truth really is. So, just get your neighbors, everybody motivated, and let them know how powerful we are as a collective, because that's what it is. I always use the example that no matter how mad I get, if I go outside and I try to flip a car over by myself, it's not happening. I'm going to rip my back muscles out. I'm going to be on the ground crying. It's not going to happen. But if I motivate a certain amount of people around me, and it could be like maybe even 15 people, if I get my energy up enough to where it resonates with them and we all share the same common interest, we're going to flip this car over, and I make it seem really exciting, you know how easily that that car will get flipped over and tossed over and over and over across an entire parking lot. And that's just with 15 people. Imagine what we could do if we have the 350 million people of this country turned into patriots and what could be accomplished. So I think we're running out of time, though.
All right. Instead, James is like trying to get 15 of his friends to go to a gay bar.
No. See, that's you with your gay island, man. All right, you could go over to the gay island and you go have fun with your rainbow parades, and don't send me videos. I'll just, I'll believe you. But yeah, man. So I think we're gonna be running out of time for this segment, so we're gonna be heading out of here. But Shane, thank you for coming on. Sarah, we appreciate you guys so much. Keep up the good fight, and I will definitely see you Saturday out in Brooklyn, and we're going to get this party started, and I'll be there to welcome you back to New York.
Yeah, welcome back to New York and to the America First Warehouse. I hope to run into you guys. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we hope to have you back.
Yeah. So until Saturday, we love you guys. Thanks again.
All glory be to God.
All glory be to God.
Thanks, guys.
So, all right, guys. So I think that's going to be wrapping up the episode 33 of the Know Your Enemies podcast with James Justice and Stephen Ruth. So we will see you next week, Tuesday, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you go to those events. Check them out, theamericafirstwarehouse.com, and get your tickets. And until then, I will see you on the flip side. We are out of here.
Thanks for tuning in.
Peace, guys.